Welcome to Your In Depth. We are covering The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey Part 2. Today, as usual, I am Jacob, and I am here with L.U. Chemia.
Heyo!
So, last time, it was around 53 minutes into the movie. But before we dive into that, Evan, you said you had some Lord of the Rings news, right?
Yeah, so Warner Brothers actually just released something here recently that they are making a new movie in the Lord of the Rings universe. And although we have not heard about this group of people yet in the Hobbit series, it is talked about, and you do see them in the actual The Rings movies. But that movie is called Lord of the Rings. I think it's Lord of the Rings War of the Rohirrim. Or it might just be War of the Rohirrim, but basically the Rohirrim are a country of men in the Lord of the Rings universe. But yeah, Warner Brothers, along with, I can't think of the other company's name, but they are working on a new animated Lord of the Rings movie that's supposed to take place just before the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So
Interesting.
Interesting to see, because I'm sure you didn't know this, Jacob, but there are animated Lord of the Rings movies out there already made back in like the 70s and 80s. But
I certainly did not.
yeah, but so they are coming out with a new one of those, and I'm really curious to see how it's going to look with the newer technology and whatnot for animation.
Now, is it going to be an animated?
Yeah, they've already said it is going to be an animated film. But they also said we are going to see characters in the movie from the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Some of the characters that are citizens of the country of Rohan are going to be in that film, so it should be interesting.
I see. All right. Yeah, neat. Well, I had some Star Wars news, but I'm going to save that. I don't have any Lord of the Rings news.
Yeah. I think I did mention on our last episode about, and if I didn't, I guess here it is as well. They're making a new Lord of the Rings game. It's going to be titled Gollum, following that weird little creature around. You're going to be playing as that creature. I have not seen any updates on that, whether it's when it's supposed to be releasing or any of that type of stuff. But
Now, in that game, do you get to rejoice as the character when you're given a sock?
wrong character, but
Oh.
but yes,
right.
yes, you do absolutely 100%.
Oh, awesome. What? Okay, here, real note, not real note, but like, okay, real as in like honest question, but not real as in serious. What would you do if we looked into Lord of the Rings, not Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, sorry, and there was a deleted scene where Dobby gets that sock, right, and then he's just like, precious.
Oh, that would be awesome. I am actually now. I am genuinely hoping there's a scene out there of that. That would be amazing.
That actually would. That'd be pretty funny.
That'd be dope.
Yeah.
Oh, one thing I saw, I still don't know if it's true or not, because I have not actually seen if it's true or not, but it is said in, I think, the 5th Harry Potter movie, on the wall, there is a portrait of Gandalf.
You sure it's just not Dumbledore? Like, they're
No,
pretty similar.
it's supposed to be like Gandalf, like in his gray robes with his staff and everything.
So you're saying that it could be in the same universe?
There is potential.
Well, but how would that even mesh? Because, like, Harry Potter's, like, now, right? But
Harry Potter's is like the 90s. But,
well, okay.
Yeah, regardless, yeah.
It's not some mythical realm. That's my point.
Really, Jacob? There is magical wands and people flying around the air without being on a plane. Like, it's not a...
Okay, I misspoke a little bit with how I said that. But what I meant was, like, Harry Potter is supposed to be more like our world, right? He's taken from, but, like, okay, what about... Where does Middle Earth then? Like, how does that overlap? Because it's this whole...
Nah,
like,
dog. Middle Earth is like Asia into Europe.
Yeah, but not like current. Like, never mind.
No, like ancient Middle Earth into Europe, or Asia into Europe. Because, like...
Okay, yeah.
Just a little FYI, right? Elves all leave to go to heaven at the end of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And that's not really a big spoiler, because they talk about them in the very first movie. So whatever. If you... don't like it, too bad. Anyways, and books and whatnot that take place after the Lord of the Rings trilogy. It even talks about dwarves, hobbits, and men all start like interbreeding and whatnot a lot more, and so that's how we have short people in today's world and whatnot. And so that they all just kind of mesh together and become men, and then boom, you get to Harry Potter world, and they still have magic. So there's that.
Okay. See, now I didn't know that part. You know, like just the whole thing, like where it is post Lord of the Rings, whatever happens, you know.
And I mean, like
I can see a development there, and
I mean, like all these orcs
so.
and whatnot just tend to shrink and get small and turn into disgusting little house elves that deserve to get knives in the gut because they're gross and annoying.
Oh my god. There. All right. I'm seeing a bit of a theory there, but regardless, we're gonna keep going. A bit of
correlation there. Come on, man.
There's I mean, for me, because I don't know as much, it's still a bit of a stretch, but I don't know.
I feel like there's some dots.
Yeah.
Anyways,
seriously,
to the Hobbit.
Okay. No. Before we do this, backtracking. Seriously, no comment on what I introduced you as?
No, not at all.
Whatever. All right. There was a couple of them that I had to choose from, and I went with that one because it was the mildest. So you know what? Fine. Anyway, going into the Hobbit, right? Unexpected Journey, Part 2, around 53 minutes. We just got past the camp scene where they heard the war cries, basically, of the orcs, I believe, and we got that backstory to Thorin.
Yeah, with a nice flashback visual.
Right.
As well.
We learned exactly. We learned about the pale orc, or
Azog the Defiler.
Yep, that was it. Yeah, so we learned about that, and now they've packed up and they're going in, and it's through the rain. And
I think one more thing that we learned about in that cutscene is how Thorin becomes known as Oakenshield. Right.
But I'm okay. Yeah, quick summary. We'll do that. We should provide a quick summary of the last episode now that we're like breaking it into multiple parts. But regardless. We learned why he's called Oakenshield. We learned about Azog the Defiler. We learned about Thorin's bloodline, basically. So. Anyway.
Anyways, with the current spot we were at, the party is traveling on their little pack ponies. Bilbo is soaking wet and looks absolutely miserable on that little pony. And we get some actually some funny dialogue here, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
And I actually have to turn the volume up a little bit so I can actually hear it, but I don't want it too loud that my mic picks it up.
Why don't you have subtitles?
Because I can't put subtitles on the computer, can I? Oh, how about that?
Yeah,
yes,
you can. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Anyways, learn something every day, gentlemen. We get a little bit of dialogue here between Gandalf and, let me make sure I get the right dwarf's name.
Shrek. I know it's not. I know. I fully know there's nothing right about any of the situation that would have. Yeah, no, I know.
Oh boy, Jacob. Oh boy. So Dory. Freaking weirdo name.
Dory? Where's Nemo?
So obviously, it's downpouring and whatnot, and he asks Gandalf if he can do anything about the rain. And Gandalf just kind of retorts back like, well, it's raining and it's going to rain until it's done. I don't know what you want me to do about it. Like, get over it, suck it up. But then he says, if you want to change the weather of the world, you need to find yourselves a different wizard.
Right, and Bilbo raises the question. He's like, are there any other wizards? Yeah. And then we get that information.
Yeah, and so
that there
Gandalf
are
says
some more.
There are 4 others, right? Mm-hmm. And so 2 of them, if I'm not mistaken, even in the books and whatnot around this, are still unnamed.
Okay.
But one
I know, Gandalf says he forgets their names, but if they're not even, maybe they're not even named,
I don't even think they're named in any of the books or anything yet. But we have Saruman the White, who is the leader of his order.
Count Dooku.
And then we have Radagast the Brown, who is very nature loving and he's not very adventure savvy like Gandalf is. He doesn't go traveling the world as much. He just kind of sticks to the woods that he's in and tends that.
Right.
But then Gandalf does mention the other two, saying they are the two blue wizards, and that's really about all the information that's the only information we get on them.
Yeah, and he couldn't. He said he forgets their names.
Yeah,
so
we don't get their names, really, what their purpose is, or anything like that.
Right, but he mentions Radagast the Brown and says that he much prefers animals over people. Yeah, and then it cuts to Radagast, and apparently something's taking over his forest. There's animals just freaking dead.
Just for people that would like the names and whatnot, it is called the the Greenwoods, I believe, is what it's called. But yeah, he's as you said, he's noticing like decay and whatnot in the forest, and I would say even just on the look on his face, you can tell that's really worrying him a lot, especially since we see like dead foxes and rabbits and mushrooms going bad and all this other kind of stuff happening.
He's all about the forest. Like he's in it, you know. He much prefers that over people. He's kind of its tear caker. My God, I just did it again.
I do find it funny though that when he lifts his hat up, we see he has a nest on his hair, like under his hat.
Sorry, you keep talking. I need recovery.
Okay. Anyways, we do see him find I think it's a little hedgehog that is getting really sick, and we can continue to see him run as he makes his way to his hut, and more dead animals. And here's where he determines that this decay and whatnot that's befalling the woods is not a natural thing in terms of like nature itself is not just being and that's when he determines that it is magic after we see him trying several different methods to try and save this little hedgehog, and nothing working. He uses a little crystal on top of his staff and sucks the poison out of him, really.
Yeah, and he notices that he says like nothing's working, I can't figure it out. It's not like it's dark magic, and then he like kind of has this moment where he's like, huh? Yeah, like it is. Meanwhile, his house is being like stormed by just giant spiders. Like you can see their silhouettes just crawling, trying to break in. Meanwhile, he is trying to save this little hedgehog, and actually it dies, but like then he like he like you said, he draws the magic out of it, and it wasn't at that point that then the spiders took off.
Yeah, so it was almost like the spiders were trying to get the little hedgehog, honestly, is what it seemed like.
Or they're like drawn to it, or something like that.
And I will say, when he's trying to suck the poison out of the hedgehog as well, like you see all these little mice come like scurrying up on him, like scared as well. Yeah. So I would even say he's more of not even just like a person living in the woods. He's more of like part of the nature itself. Because like even if it's someone living in the woods, like animals would still be afraid of him. And as we see here, they're
true. Yeah, and like I was trying to say earlier before a speech impediment developed, I was he's part of. He kind of seems like part of that, that nature, that forest, and he is its caretaker. You know. He's helping out. He's the caretaker. God.
But yeah, so after the spiders start to leave, we do see him kind of chase after them, determine where they came from. And I do think it's important. He does say foul creatures, because I mean, like spiders by themselves, they're not foul. Personally, I don't like spiders, but they're not foul creatures.
Oh, I hate spiders, but
like to us, they're not just a foul creature that's out to get you, But in this universe and whatnot, spiders are typically on the bad side of the good and evil.
Dude, honestly, when aren't they?
Yeah,
Anyway.
Well, I would say, in other series and whatnot, like so, like in Harry Potter, the spiders in there at first they're just kind of like they're neutral and they defend their own land, but then at the very end we do see them on the bad side. But
Mm-hmm.
so Radagast does get informed by a little hummingbird because he can speak with animals. That they came from the old fortress, as we hear him say, and we see him with his own like bobsled with a bunch of rabbits pulling, which I always find quite humorous.
Yeah.
But one thing we do see, and I think is important to point out, is a lot of spider webs and whatnot going across the treetops, which I think is kind of important to point out, just because it's starting to show that rot and whatnot kind of starting to engulf the woods in its spread.
Right.
But we do jump back to the dwarves.
To the dwarves, Bilbo and Gandalf, yeah.
As they come up to a destroyed cottage.
Yeah, and they want to set up like camp for the night, but Gandalf thinks they should push on. He wants to reach the elves.
Yeah.
And we do see a bit of that bitterness held on to by Thorin. Like he's just like, basically, why would we go there? They left us, that kind of thing.
I find interesting as well is right before that, Gandalf mentions that a farmer and his wife and his family used to live in that like destroyed hut. And so like, I'm not even sure honestly, like if he knew those people there or if he's using like maybe a little bit of magic, like people live here, or,
like try to figure out the history of it, or maybe he just knows like from memory.
Well,
because he's maybe known the person.
For reference, as I think I said last episode, Gandalf is like, Gandalf is like several thousands of years old.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of living in Middle Earth here, like where they're at. Yeah. And even then, before that, he was basically an angel living up with God and whatnot when they're the God of this universe when he created everything, right?
Yeah. Really.
So I don't know if that would be part of it or what exactly. But
yeah, I don't know.
But anyways, as you said, we see that resentment between the elves and dwarves still.
Right.
And one thing to point out, too, is the elves that Gandalf wants to go see are not even the elves that did not help Thorin and his people when the Lonely Mountain was attacked. It's a completely different group of elves with a completely different elf king. Not even... So, the elves of the Green Woods, which is the ones that we saw last time, right? At the very beginning of the movie when the elves did not help the dwarves. Those are more of like woodland elves, right? The elves that Gandalf wants to go see are basically like high elves. It's like, yes, they're both elves, but like high elves and woodland elves are basically two different races of elves.
Yeah.
And so I mean, it's not even like they're the same race of elves. They're not the same group of elves. They're not the same guy. They don't follow the same king. Like like it's completely separate. And even then, Thorin is too set in his ways to even accept help from them.
Right. Yeah. So it's nighttime at this point now. The dwarves start cooking some food. Bilbo picks up some food and takes it to take it to the two dwarves who I've just named Thor and Loki. And these guys are just Thor and Loki, whatever. It's bearded Loki. So they bring it, and these two are like just chilling. Like they're just like they're not chilling there. They're obviously something's up, and they're just staring. They're like kind of like this poop moment.
Mm-hmm.
And they mention that they're like, well, they're like the ponies, right? They're like there's supposed to be 16 of them, and there's 14. Daisy and Bunghole or Bungo or something is missing.
Daisy and Myrtle, but okay.
I could have sworn they said like Bungo or something like that.
No, it is Bungo. Sorry.
Okay, yeah, Bunghole. Anyway, so they decide to investigate. They find that there's something big that kind of uprooted some trees around them.
And it's not even like kind of. It's like full on like roots ripped out of the ground on their sides, like.
Okay, yeah. But anyway, they come up on it and they.
Clarifying.
No, you're fine. Unlike the other hundreds of time you say, okay, now hold on. This one's, man, that's fine.
Hold
Anyway,
on, back it up to the very beginning of where we started. There we missed a certain point.
no. We got to go back. You missed something, right? So it's raining after the camp. Anyway, so
you missed this one particular raindrop that had very
you didn't point
significance
out
to the story, and actually makes a huge avalanche effect that goes into the other trilogy, all the way to the Harry Potter series, and then into Star Wars as well. Sorry, I'll stop now.
It's okay, buddy. Anyway, though, so yeah, they come up on them, and what are these things? Are they trolls?
Yes, so they are trolls.
Okay.
And real quick, just because I just saw it and it's not backtracking, Myrtle and Mindy are two other ponies that get taken as we see one of the trolls. That's why I was like, Myrtle.
Oh,
when you
wait,
were
so
talking about the ponies earlier.
they get taken. Which ones were the ones that were abducted?
So it was, I don't remember what two they were. But anyways, two of them were abducted. And then we see here, like a minute or so later, two more of the ponies are being taken by one of the trolls.
Oh, okay.
So the trolls now have 4 of their ponies instead of just 2.
Okay.
But yes, they are trolls. They're mountain trolls.
Okay.
And as we are told a little later on in the movie, which I mean, it's like another 15 minutes maybe, this is a rare occurrence for mountain trolls to be this far south. It's something that has not happened in thousands of years. For mountain trolls to come this far south, the last time they came down this far south was, I can't think of the name of the war, but basically, I guess the evil side was damn near taking over all of Middle Earth, or at least all of what we see here, and that was the last time that mountain trolls came this far south. And as I said, that was like thousands of years ago. So the fact that this is happening now is kind of hint, some stuff's about to pop off, you know.
Okay. Interesting. Well, their purpose with abducting the ponies are to eat them, obviously.
Indeed.
Makes
They're gonna
sense.
ride them.
Yeah, they were thinking about doing that. Yeah, for sure. But anyway, so they come up with a plan as this is going on, that Bilbo, being their thief or whatever, the burglar, is going to sneak in and try to get the ponies.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, these trolls, which, by the way, since this is not a visual podcast, they basically look like 3 different concept art designs for Sloth from the Goonies. But they're bantering, they're chatting and just insulting one another, like, you oh, by the way, they also have like one of those old, like, stereotypical like British kind of accents where it's like, you know, not the prim and proper ones, but the dirty ones who like use like, you know, like chimney sweep Tom and like crap like that.
Yeah.
You know? And
one thing I find funny at this point too is the dwarves tell Bilbo, if you get in trouble, once like a brown owl and twice like a barn owl. And he starts thinking about it and he's like, twice like a brown, what? And it's almost like he doesn't even know how to do that in the first place, and then he turns around, they're just gone.
Yeah, they're like, all right, you got this, and they take off, basically.
Yeah.
So he's over there and he's trying to untie the like rope that is around the horses, and he's struggling, he can't. And he looks off.
It's some thick rope though.
Well, it is, yeah. I mean, I don't see how he would be able to.
No.
But he looks over. Go ahead.
I find it funny how one of the trolls, like, he's the dumb one of the group, you know, like, obviously the dumb one. Mm-hmm. He just, like, sneezes into their soup, and they're like, oh, no, it's fine. It's whatever.
Yeah. Dear Lord. But anyway, so yeah, but Bilbo looks over and he sees one of them has this just giant, which to him's basically a sword, but to them's probably a dagger.
I don't even know if it would be just a sword to him. I feel like that thing would be humongous, like
a great sword. It's a huge.
Yeah,
you're
I don't know
right.
how he plans on using that thing. If he somehow were to get it off of the troll's belt, like.
Yeah. But anyway, it's on him, and he's like, "All right, So he tries to sneak over and grab it so that he can cut the rope and free the ponies. and a troll, like one of the trolls reaches back to like grab, I think, something to blow his nose in.
Yeah, it's the dumb
And
one again.
he grabs Bilbo and blows his nose all over him. And then he's just like freaking out, and he's just like, look what come out of my nose, and like, stuff. I don't know why I just developed. I wasn't actually trying to do their kind of like way of speaking, and somehow I started off as that and then just turned into Sylvester Stallone.
So what I noticed here as well, these trolls do actually have names too.
Do they?
Yeah, you've got Bert, Tom, and what's the other one? Bert, Tom, and I can't think of the other one. But I just saw it in the subtitles. That's why I realized. But yeah, they actually have names. Like they were given names when this whole thing was written and everything. Yeah.
Okay.
That's really surprised me.
So he asks like they throw him down or something, and they're just like, "What are you?" kind of thing. And he's like, "Oh, I'm a burglar, a hobbit." And they're like, "A burglar hobbit," or something like that. Yeah.
I like how they refer to him as an oversized squirrel.
Yeah.
Like,
but
oh my goodness.
They try to catch him, and they're gonna cook him.
Yeah.
But then the dwarves come in.
The dwarves show up. I just want to point out that as we do see here, they are like really kind of slow in terms of trying to like when they're trying to catch him. And I completely forgot about it too. The two dwarves that be like, you can help us get the ponies back. Like they even mentioned that, and I totally forgot about that. That trolls are so slow and stupid. That he'll be able to outwit them.
Oh yeah.
But
they're very slow.
Yeah, we do see them being like just slow and stupid, and then, as you said, the dwarves all show up and start kicking the crap out of all three trolls.
Yeah.
And I've always wondered, with how many times I've watched this movie, right?
Yeah.
How are these dwarves not killing these three trolls? Like, how are these three trolls, after getting hit this much, how are they not dead, or at least severely injured?
Yeah, really. You would think so. I mean,
So just for a reference, right? In Lord of the Rings and the movies and whatnot, and even the games and whatnot, dwarven steel is supposed to be this very high quality weapons and armor. It's supposed to be very high quality, very sharp, heavy, but like strong, really good equipment that like if you have it, you're pretty set in terms of weapons or armor.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's, as I said, high quality, sharp, strong, very durable. And these guys are like cutting these trolls with their swords, hitting them with hammers, like great hammers, huge, heavy things.
Yeah.
And these trolls aren't even they're like, ow, that hurts. But then we never see any blood. We don't see them limping or anything like that. Besides the initial hit, how are these dwarves not killing these freaking trolls like this? I have wondered that every time I've watched this movie.
Yeah, but so they're fighting them, obviously kicking the heck out of them.
Yeah.
But then the dwarves catch Bilbo and hold him up by limbs, like they're about to just rip him apart.
Yeah, and I think they're just like, stop. To catch him right as he's releasing the ponies, I think.
Yeah.
But
that sounds right. I don't have the movie in front of me, but
yeah, they do. I just saw it.
Okay.
Right as he releases the ponies, they catch him, like you said.
Yeah. So, but they threaten to rip him apart, so they stand down, they surrender, and then they start roasting some of them, and they have the rest of them tied up, of the dwarves, because they're pretty well looking to eat anything at this point.
Yeah.
But then Bilbo kind of gets their attention and is like, "You guys obviously haven't ever had dwarves before," or something kind of been talking about different ways to prepare them.
Yeah.
He's you need to skin them first. Yeah. And then the dwarves are arguing. Oh, because he goes, "Oh, you don't want to eat these ones, by the way, because they all have parasites."
They're all infected.
Yeah, they're all infected. And then the dwarves are just like, "We don't have parasites. What is wrong?" And they're start
Yeah.
being so like prideful, basically,
And
like,
it's
what
not
is
until like
no,
Thorin
nothing's
like
wrong with
kicks one
us.
of them, like, hey, just go along with it, you freaking idiots.
Yeah, he like you see his face like turn. He understands. He's like, oh, that's what he's doing. So he kicks one of them, and then they all like kind of shush down, and
Oh,
then
I've
they're
got
like,
parasites. I got parasites as large as my arm.
yeah, they start like going with it. They're like, we're all infected.
We are the species.
Take me to your leader. But anyway, so Gandalf shows up though.
Yeah, but
I assume you probably want to backtrack.
no. I was just saying he's distracting them for Gandalf to show up
Oh, right, yeah.
as you were saying,
Yeah, because he sees Gandalf in the distance, just kind of go whoop, like across the. Yeah, he sees a flash of him, and then Gandalf is up on top of a stone, and like screams something. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You said
So,
before that
Gandalf,
happens.
He's up on that stone like you were saying, and they're like something about like, can we eat him too? And then Gandalf like hits the stone with his staff, and is like, the sun will take you all, and the sun hits him. We see him all turn to stone.
Right.
But one thing that I forgot about, we didn't mention, was in the conversation with the trolls, and this is where Bilbo gets the idea to distract them, right? Until to buy time, is one of them actually mentions, and I just remember this, that he doesn't want to be there all night. Because they need to be inside when daybreak, like when the day shows up.
Right. So
He
he
doesn't want to be turned into stone, and that's when Bilbo's like, "Oh, they said that. I'll distract them."
Yeah. Okay, that makes.
And I don't know if, because I kind of skipped forward a little bit to catch up with where we were at.
Yeah.
I don't remember if Bilbo notices Gandalf running by in the shrubbery, or if he kind of notices the sunlight a little bit starting to show up. I don't remember.
Regardless, we see Gandalf, but yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
Because
So Bilbo's
Gandalf
remembering
almost
back, like, they don't like sunlight. Let's try and distract them
right.
when the sun gets here.
Well, but because if I'm remembering right, you see the sunlight kind of coming up, but then you see Gandalf run across in that area. So I guess I don't know what the point of emphasis was.
Yeah.
Probably him, but.
And one thing I will say too, for as we continue in The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, remember these trolls.
Okay.
Just keep them in mind. Like, you don't have to be like, oh, are the trolls here? Are they there? What's going on with the trolls? Like, just remember back to this movie in this little spot right here, because it'll be a nice little Easter egg later on.
Oh. I'm kind of wondering if you see them as statues or something. But anyway, so yeah. Then Gandalf is talking to, I believe, Thorin.
Mm-hmm.
And Thorin goes, "Where did you go?" And Gandalf replies with, "Looking ahead." And he's like, "Well, what brought you back?" He replies, "Looking behind."
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, he came back for him.
Yeah. Well, also, just after that as well, I think it kind of cracks me up too, because we see here, and honestly, like, even from the beginning of the movie, we can see that Thorin doesn't have much faith in Bilbo whatsoever.
Yeah.
And even right here, Thorin even says that, like, something along the lines of, like, Bilbo didn't even help, like, or he's like, "Yeah, we made it, but no thanks to your burglar," referring to Bilbo. And Gandalf mentions, like, he had the sense to play for time. None of the rest of you thought of that. None of the rest of you were coming up with ideas.
Yeah.
So, like, Bilbo is saving the company even this early into their journey without the rest of the company really acknowledging that he's saving the company.
Yeah. Well, they push on and get going, and they find a cave here eventually. And in it, and I wonder if it was a troll cave or like something, maybe where these guys were chilling out. I don't know.
Yeah. So that cave you're referencing,
but yeah,
that is the cave of these three trolls. That's like their home.
Okay.
Yeah, and so we see all their treasure and whatnot in there.
Right. Yeah, because they find some different swords that are like high quality, like holy cow, high quality, and they point out they're like, these were not made by trolls. No. Like, these were made by, I want to say, elves.
Yes. So they mention that these the blades they find, the swords they find, were made by the High Elves of, I believe, the First Age.
Hmm.
So basically, the way ages work in Lord of the Rings is, so right now at this place where we're at right now, they're in the Third Age.
Wait, hold on, Evan. Are you at a legal standpoint to where you can talk about age?
Well, it's a little iffy. But I think we'll be all right.
Okay, proceed. I just want to say that I do not
Uh,
affiliate myself with anything that is about to be said out of fear of misrepresentation. Okay, go ahead. Or something. I don't know. I don't know legal terms.
Damn it, Jacob. But so Gandalf says that they are not, as you said, not made by the trolls, not made by any smith among men. They're made by the elves, and obviously, at first, Thorin's not very trusting because it's made by elves. He doesn't want any help from the elves.
Right.
And so Gandalf actually says they're made in Gondolin by the High Elves of the First Age. So for a little background, just because they mentioned it, Gondolin used to be a very, I don't want to say advanced, but a very powerful civilization, right?
Okay.
And during the First Age, they have something that's called the War of Wrath, which is basically, trying to think of like a giant war to compare it to. I would say kind of think of like World War II in terms of the destruction that happens. But even on a bigger scale, so like there's so much destruction and whatnot that during that war, like entire continents got sunk into the ocean, and there's so much destruction and whatnot. And at one point during that war, a giant dragon flies to the kingdom of Gondolin and is dropping giant. So it's so big, it's dropping like 20-foot tall flame monsters onto the island off of its stomach and its wings and its back. And the whole place just gets destroyed. So the fact that these weapons are here, made in that country from the First Age, we're talking like at probably close to like 10,000 years ago, and they're still in this type of quality. It's like, this is the rarest find the rarest things you could possibly find.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be just as rare if there's one ring that you just stumble across because of some creature. I mean, yeah.
But one thing about these blades as well is they're actually like imbued with magic. And so Gandalf actually mentions it to Bilbo when he gives him the little blade, that these blades will glow blue when orcs or evil creatures are around.
Well, I think it was just the sword that he had, wasn't it?
It might have been. I think so. But each of them do have a little bit of magic put into them.
Well, each one of them has, its own unique thing, but I thought that it was just his that glowed blue.
And Gandalf even says to Thorin as he goes to put the blade down, because, like I said, he doesn't want any help from the elves, regardless of what type of help it would be. Gandalf even tells him, "You will never find a finer blade." And as we saw in the opening of this movie, the Lonely Mountain, where Thorin is from, is very well known for their fine craftsmanship, their wealth, their power, all that kind of stuff. So the fact that Gandalf is even telling him that this blade is going to be better than anything he's ever seen is pretty significant.
So he's probably just kind of like, oh.
Yeah, because Thorin would already have a very high standard for weapons and armor, as it is. And Gandalf would know this. And I mean, they're a little dusty and got some cobwebs on them, but I think a lot of people don't realize the significance of those three weapons that we see here. Like how significant it is that they've even found these weapons.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know any of that kind of backstory to them.
Yeah, and it's something, unless you've read the books or watched videos on YouTube, you wouldn't know.
Which one do you fall under?
I've read a little bit of the books. It's more of like watching some of the YouTube videos that go over them because you get a little more in depth from them.
Yeah, that's fair.
But
okay,
I know I went off a little bit there, but I really wanted to point out the significance of this.
Yeah,
it's a very big deal.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the interjection there, because like I didn't know that, and that's a good elaboration. Like, because it is kind of like you get the tone of like, okay, this is a good find, this is rare, this is holy cow. But I mean, there's no way I would have recognized how.
There's nothing here in this scene that really gives you an idea of how big
No,
of a find
I
this
mean,
is.
there's nothing that would have indicated anything like what you just said. So I do appreciate that.
And I mean, we do see, if you look at kind of the background of it as well, and some of the other stuff in that little crate where they found those weapons, there are other weapons sitting in there too.
Yeah,
So you would just think, oh, it's just a little weapons cache, whatever. But it's like,
yeah,
no, it's so much more than that. Unless you actually look into the backstory of like this world, you will not know. You could watch all 6 movies a million times and you just wouldn't know.
right.
Um,
So they leave the cave and something is heading their way. Bilbo checks the blade and it's not glowing, is it?
no. Oh, excuse me. No, it's not glowing. Because as I said, it glows. Sorry, it glows. Gandalf says when orcs and goblins are near, which is
Yeah.
primarily what it. Honestly, that's the only time we actually see the blade glow is if orcs or goblins are
Mm-hmm.
nearby. But I would say honestly, with it being elven made that early in the history of this world when magic was very prevalent, um, I would say it would probably glow when anything like evil is around.
Yeah.
So it's like orcs, goblins, trolls, spiders. I guess back in that time when it was made, probably
Right.
even like dragons, that type of stuff.
Yeah. But anyway, so something's coming. They prepare, kind of like waiting for it, and it is just Radagast
With his little rabbits pulling his bobsled.
with his yep. Mm-hmm. And he's warning them. He's like, something is wrong.
Yeah.
And then he forgets what he was going to say. He tells Gandalf that Greenwood is sick. Again, something is wrong. There's an old fortress called Dol Guldur.
Yep, Dol Guldur.
Dude, I'm telling you, maybe he's just got a speech impediment like I did earlier, and he's trying to call Gandalf by his real name. Dol Guldur Dumbledore, right? Maybe. Anyway, so it's that old fortress.
Yeah. So just a little brief. I'll try and keep it short. Sorry. That fortress he's referring to is again one of those fortresses, as I was saying, like when the mountain trolls came down way back when during a big war. That was a like chief fortress of the evil side during that big war.
Okay.
And obviously, the good guys won because they're all still around and whatnot. But it's all ruined and destroyed and whatnot. But that is, yeah.
Okay. But anyway, Radagast says that he searched Dol Guldur, Dumbledore, whatever, and something is dwelling there.
Yeah.
He saw a necromancer, and there was this, a ghost type thing, a spirit, whatever you want to call it, that tried to attack him, and it dropped his sword.
Yeah.
And so Radagast, he pulls it out and he shows to Dumbledore. I'm going to be honest with you, that was not intentional at all. At all. God dang it. So he shows Gandalf Casper's sword, and the sword apparently is not from the world of the living.
Yeah. So a little brief on that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure people are wondering as well, and I don't know if you were or not. And we do get a little bit of an explanation a little further on the movie. But basically, that where I was talking about where mountain trolls came down and all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
That blade belonged to basically a high general of the bad side.
General Kenobi?
Yeah, basically.
All right.
Not as cool as Kenobi, but like right below him.
No, nothing comes close.
But anyway, so as that war came to an end and that general was defeated, he was buried deep below the earth, in cells. Him and other like generals and whatnot. Their bodies were buried deep below the earth in cells imbued with magic.
Right,
So
like
that way,
basically
like,
sealed off.
yeah, so like no one could even go in there and like try and be grave robbers or anything like that. And so the
Yeah.
fact that this blade is showing up again is another
Yeah.
bad sign.
Very bad.
Yeah, because like it should be impossible for this blade to be showing
mhm,
up at all, let alone in this reference that we see here.
yeah. So they start hearing wolves. At least they think they're wolves, and they're approaching. And turns out it's warg scouts,
Yep.
indicating that an orc pack is coming.
And again, for people watching that don't know, there is a distinct difference between wolves and wargs in this universe.
Yeah.
Wolves are your typical what we think of wolves nowadays. Wargs are a lot bigger, a lot meaner, a lot more savage,
Right.
and they are rideable because they're that big.
Yeah. And they kill a couple of them. You know, they fight them off. They find out. I mean, that's kind of one of the leading things where they figure out what they are. And Radagast bolts off to kind of like, because he like offers to like run, like, divert them, like,
Yeah.
distract them. And he's got his little sleigh pulled by rabbits, and he makes the comment like, because Gandalf goes like, it's like, are you sure that you'll be able to outrun them? And he like, I don't know what kind of rabbits he said they were.
Yeah.
But he's like, oh, these are,
Yeah,
something.
so-
And I'm sure you'll tell me what.
So Gandalf, as you said, he basically says these are Gundabad wargs. They'll outrun you.
Oh, right. Gundabad, the whole, like, Jar Jar's alias.
Basically, yeah. And brief thing again, that whole big war I've been referencing this whole time. Gundabad was a big country and major stronghold of the bad guys for that side. But it's very well known for their savagery in battle and that type of stuff, and having like wargs and like giant war bats as well, and creatures to help fight the bad side. But Radagast says these are Rustabel rabbits.
Rustabel, yeah.
I would like to see them try.
Yeah, he's like, I'd like to see them try.
And
like,
then we
basically like,
see,
dude, come on, they're fast.
we see Radagast on his bobsled just come bolting out of like some foliage and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like bobbing and weaving back and forth under some rocks, like just evading the crap out of these wargs and these orcs.
Yeah, like he's hauling, dude.
And I find it funny too. We see one of the orcs that's chasing him on, one of the orcs gets knocked off running into a rock. But then we see, Gandalf leading the company. They're trying to like sneak out and get away.
Right. Yeah.
And we do see a warg with an orc on top of it, like jump down at them, and the dwarves dispatch it pretty easily, but it does let out like a cry, which the rest of the orc pack hears.
Right. Yeah, because the orc kind of like caught a. You know what? Hold on. Well. Before we go on any further, let's go back a little bit because, there. I don't know. I can't impersonate you, but regardless, the orc kind of caught a scent of dwarf.
Yeah. Caught a scent or like a flash of movement out of his peripheral, something.
Yeah, something where he knew something was up. So he went over and checked it out. And bearded Loki guy kills him, kills the orc, and then obviously lets out that sound.
Yeah, it's almost chasing. Like it got cut off too, I think. Like it's letting out that cry or whatever, like a yell, and gets cut off.
Right, but it's still enough for them to be like draw their attention.
Mm-hmm.
And they just bolt after him. The dwarves go down and like go into a cave to try to escape, and all of a sudden, like, just you hear stuff going on out there that the orcs get killed.
Yep.
And it ends up being, well, do we figure out who it is yet?
So at this point, all we know is that it was elves. Because as they're down in that little cave that Gandalf led them to, one of the orcs falls down in there, and they see a broken elf arrow. And so, just a little thing for people in this, like, you can tell the difference between like man-made stuff, dwarf-made stuff, and elf-made stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of what type of style they try and put into it or anything like that, like it's like this was elven made. It's got a specific
right
like design to it. that it's
A
elven made,
certain
or like
degree
this
of
is
craftsmanship, a certain design.
yeah. So like
Yeah.
dwarven stuff, it'd be like very heavy, very sturdy. Elven stuff is a little lighter, but it's very like eloquently made with design on it and that type of stuff. Even like their
Hmm.
arrows they make en masse, for like
Yeah,
war and stuff
yeah.
like that. And men is just like it's got a little bit of weight to it. It's pretty sturdy, but it's not like dwarven quality sturdy.
Right. They've all got their own unique kind of craftsmanship
Yeah, exactly.
and how they do their stuff.
Yep.
But anyway, so they kind of move along a ravine, moving out of that cave, and just kind of work along. And they come out into an opening after Bilbo says that he feels something. Gandalf kind of asks, and it kind of feels like magic.
Mm-hmm.
But they kind of work their way out, and they find an opening to find themselves in the Valley of Imaldris,
Imladris.
which what?
Imladris.
Imladris?
Yes. They have very weird names, and it's hard to
no,
just read and pronounce.
that's nowhere close to what I typed, so I must have misspelled it. But
yeah.
say that again. What was it called?
Imladris.
Imladris.
Yes. And in the common tongue, it's what they call the common tongue. So that's the elf name for it.
Right. So
in the
it's
common
like
name, it's Rivendell.
Yeah. So it's Rivendell. Yeah.
Yeah. And so Rivendell is basically a safe haven that the elves set up. For anybody that's seen the first Lord of the Rings movie, that big battle that we see in the opening, right, where it's got the two giant armies going at each other. Imladris or Rivendell was found after that war was over, as kind of just like a safe haven for the veterans of that battle, where they can find peace and not have to really worry about the struggles out in the real world, where they can really just relax and feel safe, basically.
Right. Yeah. But if you're at all on top of things, you would probably be like, well, how does Thorin feel about this? Yeah, he's not happy.
Yeah, not at all.
No. No, he's really, really upset.
Yeah.
And then he's like, saying how bad they are and stuff. And Gandalf kind of like, he mentions, but like, in a way, kind of like snaps, but he points out, he's like, the only ill will that you'll find in this valley is the one that you carry yourself.
Yep.
Kind of being like, these people have nothing against you.
Yeah.
You are holding on to something that's,
And one thing that Gandalf mentions as well in this same part you're talking about is that, that map that we saw at the very beginning of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as we saw at the very beginning, Gandalf was like, I don't have the skill to read this. And
right, yeah.
Gandalf even mentions here that, like, we have a map that we cannot read. We need questions that need answers, and this is where we'll get that information. And Thorin, of course,
right.
like, we know they'll try and stop us. They'll try and, like, hinder our progress, which, I mean, they will. Because basically, like, as we saw at the beginning of the movie, like, the dragon attacked the Lonely Mountain and took it over. Well, nobody wants to antagonize the dragon. Like, no one on the good side does. Like, they don't want to even risk the chance that it's still alive. They don't want to risk its wrath. They don't want to risk any of that.
Right.
So the fact that this company is going to the Lonely Mountain and potentially is going to risk the wrath of a dragon is like, we don't want you to do that. Even though you have good intentions and all, like, that's not what we want. That's not going to be a good thing for anybody.
Right.
And
but
so,
anyway,
like, I would say Thorin's feel on this in terms of, like, not of them, like, trying to stop the company and whatnot, like, his feelings on that part are spot on, But his feelings, as you said, in terms of, like, not wanting to trust the elves and whatnot is, and, like, coming in with ill will that part is just completely off in terms of this place, this group of elves, I would say.
Yeah. Well, as I wrote in my notes, Galmdolf, because I can't freaking spell, Gandalf looks to speak to Lord Elrond, who is not there. He talks to somebody, they say that he's out, basically.
Yeah.
And, but pretty well right as he says that, he comes on in.
Yeah.
It kind of it appears, and I'm sure that I'm probably correct in this. They were the ones that saved them, right?
Yeah. So Elrond and his group of riders are the ones that showed up, and we heard all that commotion and whatnot as they got down in that cave.
Mm-hmm.
Elrond and his group of riders are the ones that basically saved the dwarves there.
Right.
Whether Elrond knew that at the time or not is unknown.
Yeah, but
You
either
know,
way, he saved them, unknowingly or not.
Yeah, but one thing with Elrond too, and this was one of the reasons why initially I was like, I would say we go through the Lord of the Rings trilogy first, because we actually get introduced to Elrond in the Lord of the Rings trilogy and get a little more of a backstory on it.
Like in the very far backstory, we see it in Lord of the Rings, but not here.
Yeah. So in
Okay.
Lord of the Rings, if you've seen the first movie, you would recognize him as one of the leaders of elves in that giant battle we see at the very beginning of the Fellowship of the Ring. He was there during that giant battle, and he is like insanely old too. Like so, as a reference, that battle that you see in the very beginning of Lord of the Rings: Fellowship of the Ring takes place 3,000 years before this movie, and Elrond is still very old in terms of like what we would think of age at that time.
Yeah.
You know, like he has been around for a minute.
Right.
You know, and so he's very obviously very wise for having lived so long. Very skilled warrior. And as I said, that was one of the reasons I kind of wanted to do the Lord of the Rings trilogy first, just so we get a little more backstory on him. And then we'd see him here and be like, I know him.
Yeah.
And it's the same with a couple other characters, but I mean, we still get a little bit of an introduction to him here, anyways. So it's not.
Yeah, and I
big.
guess later on it's something to build on their character.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I get that.
And we do see one of the elves refer to Gandalf as Mithrandir. So Gandalf has a lot of names across the different races and kingdoms and whatnot. And Mithrandir is a very common name. A lot of people in the world of men know him as that, and in the kingdoms of elves know him as that. But if I'm not mistaken, the only two that you ever hear him referred to by is Mithrandir and Gandalf.
Okay.
But yeah, just
anyway,
anybody that was like wondering why he was called that, it's basically the elven version of his name. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so Lord Elrond comes up and just goes up to Gandalf and says, "Mr. Anderson." JK, that's the Matrix. But he speaks some like Elvish. They're kind of talking introductory.
I'm sorry,
stuff,
Jake. I just have to say I would have been a little disappointed if you wouldn't have made any sort of joke like that. Just saying.
Okay, I'm glad that I didn't disappoint you. So he ends up speaking a little bit of Elvish, and upon translation, he's offering the dwarves food. But
the dwarves didn't take it that way at all.
No, they thought. Well, like at first, didn't they think that he was like threatening them?
It was like threatening or insulting them, basically, is what they just initially assumed.
But then, like Gandalf clarifies, and they're like, "Oh."
And he's like, "No, Master Dwarf, they're offering you food."
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh, all right,
lead the way then."
But then they find out that it's all vegetables.
Yeah, and so this is one of the parts that I love about the extended versions, right?
Yeah.
So we get to see at this point where they do a little song and dance thing, right?
Oh, yeah, okay.
In the normal version, you don't see that.
No?
You don't see the little song and dance and all the elves like, what the heck is going on here?
That's great.
Yeah.
I don't know. See, like, that's a scene that I feel like you kind of have to leave in, like, honestly.
Yeah. But it's also one of those scenes that it's one of those scenes that brings no further advancement of the plot or anything like that.
And that's true.
You know, so it's like, it's understandable that they would take that out if they need to shorten the movie down a little bit. But it's one of those scenes that's like, I have to see this.
Yeah, and it's same with the fountain scene, right?
Yeah, yep, exactly.
I feel like some of these I can guess what is an extended scene.
Yeah, there's quite a few of them.
Others, it's like, I don't know. But anyway, so
before we continue on, so I don't have to backtrack us at all.
Sure.
To avoid that.
Anymore, right?
Yeah.
You've been doing pretty good, actually.
At one point during this whole feast scene, right? We see Elrond with holding the blade that Thorin got out of the troll cave.
Yeah.
And Elrond even kind of elaborates a little bit more, but not a whole lot,
Yeah.
about both his and Gandalf's blade that they now have. Talking about from the High Elves of the First Age, and we actually see Gandalf say something along the lines of like, "They were my kin." So basically, like his family from like, I don't know, like 7,000 years ago or something like that, you know,
hmm
were in Gondolin, that ancient kingdom that got destroyed, and potentially made those blades. Like there's a chance that his family could have been the ones that made those blades. It's never really clarified whether it's just like his family was around during then, or if like his family is directly involved in that, or what exactly. But I just think it's an interesting point that is
Yeah.
made there. It's like my kin, my family, my people.
Right. Yeah. And actually, well, before I go into that, because he actually pointed out the names of the different weapons that he's talking about there. But before that, there was a scene where that Loki looking dude, the bearded one. I don't know his name. I can't think of it.
I think you're thinking of Keely. I think the black hair.
It might be. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Keely.
But anyway, he comments on a milkmaid or an elf maid being hot. And he's like talking like I want to say he said something like elven girls aren't really my thing kind of thing.
Yeah.
But he points out one saying that they're good looking. And then they're just like, you might want to look again, basically. And it turns out to be a dude.
Yeah, so yeah. And one thing that's very off about that again a lot of people don't know about is dwarven women have beards too.
Are you serious?
Yes. So in this, dwarven women grow facial hair. So in one of the Lord of the Rings movies, and I think the second movie, one of the dwarven character makes a comment to something along the lines of like, a lot of people mistake dwarven women for dwarf men, and you see another character just kind of mouth, "It's the beards." Yeah, and so like, dwarven women are like, think of like bearded ladies at like carnivals and stuff like that. That's basically dwarven women. They have beards.
I'm just thinking of the whole song "This Is Me."
Yep.
The Greatest Showman.
Yeah. And so like, I guess the fact that this dwarf is attracted to someone that does not have a beard is kind of like it's an outlier. It's like something doesn't belong here type deal. Because like that's not typically what dwarves are into.
Yeah, okay.
But you had mentioned the
anyway,
swords names.
Right. We get one of which is the Goblin Cleaver.
Yes. So the one that Thorin has
Orcust
is Orcust the Goblin Cleaver. And it is a famous blade, which basically means like someone very high up in terms of rank or royalty used that blade. And as we see in the scene as well, one of the dwarfs says to Bilbo that blades are named after great deeds that they performed, or like great deeds that their wielder performed. So basically, we get the inclination or the kind of the feel that this blade has been used to kill a lot of goblins. Essentially, is what it is. And then Gandalf's is. Do you have that one?
Yeah, the elven name or whatever is like Glamdring or something like that, but it's the foe hammer.
Yeah, and so again, it's just that a sword named foe hammer is basically like it's been hitting stuff really hard.
Yeah, it's gonna crush.
And Elrond actually says, and I just saw it right here as he's looking at that sword, that it was wielded by the king of Gondolin. So the king of that entire country used that sword.
That
Gandalf
so we really
now
see
has.
the significance kind of these pieces.
Yeah, so we get a little bit of the significance here. Like, okay, these are famous blades. This one was wielded by a king, but again, we don't really understand the full impact or the significance of these blades unless you've done the looking into the backstories and that type of stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, Thorin kind of leaves this conversation when they're talking why they were like why they were where they were. He kind of goes along, but Gandalf is talking up the dwarves and kind of like saying like how, how great they are, and meanwhile they're just like sitting there basically like grossed out by the vegetables, not enjoying the music, so they're like, heck with it, and they jump up on the table.
Yeah.
They start doing their thing, right? They start singing, they're dancing,
And we get
and
to
whatever.
see the
And this
elves looking just
apparently,
disgusted.
yeah, they're just looking like, what the heck? And I think that even Gandalf at one point just kind of looks over to Lord Elrond and he's like, kind of like just like raises his eyebrows, like
Just like an eyebrow or like a shoulder shrug.
yeah, like all right. But
I do find it funny too that we do see one of the dwarfs like stuff a little like silver cup into one of his pockets, trying to be sneaky about it as well.
Lord. Yeah.
One of them that has the little like, I don't know what you call it, but using it to hear, that little piece that he uses to hear.
Oh yeah.
They got the music playing. He stuffs a napkin in there.
Yeah, he's like, better. Yeah. But anyway, so they end up kind of discussing why they're there in a way, and they show Lord Elrond their map.
Yeah.
And what is Erebor? Erebor?
So Erebor is the actual name of the Lonely Mountain. That's the name of the kingdom that is in the Lonely Mountain.
Okay.
So it's the Lonely Mountain, the kingdom of Erebor.
Okay. So he finds out that there's moon runes on them.
Yep.
Which is like they can only be read in the same season of this, like the same moon that they were written, basically.
Yeah, so essentially it has to be the right season, the right type of moon, whether it's a crescent moon, full moon, half moon. And like it's basically like conditions have to be literally perfect for you to read this map.
Right. And turns out that's exactly what's going on right now.
Yep. And Elrond even comments on it. He's like, "Looks like fate is with you. We happen to be under that exact moon tonight."
Yeah, like you were meant to come here. Like this is exactly. Yeah.
And we do get to see those runes actually appear, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, they're uncovered.
And Elrond reads it to us, and I'll just say what he says, unless you have it written down.
No, I do not.
Okay, let me rewind this like 2 seconds.
Oh, come on. Now you're doing it to your movie?
Yeah, so he says, stand by the gray stone when the thrush knocks. Gotta wait for it to catch up, come on. And the setting sun with the last light of Durin's day will shine upon the keyhole. And so Durin's Day is basically the Dwarven New Year. That is their New Year's Day, basically.
Okay.
And Gandalf even mentions it. And he says, when the last moon of autumn and the first sun of winter are in the sky together. So basically, it's like, for us, it's like going into winter, but for the dwarves, it's a whole new year for them.
Gotcha.
And, we see Thorin and Balin actually talking. It's kind of worried, like, we're almost through summer. Durin's Day will soon be here. We have to go. We got to get moving. We have a little bit of time, but not much. But, like, we got to kind of pick it up a little bit.
Right. And we kind of like get it kind of cuts away to see orcs enter into like a kind of a ruined kind of like fortress almost. And they speak to the pale orc who is still alive.
Yep.
And they
that
inform
ruin
them. Yeah.
Sorry. That ruin, keeping in mind again, it's going to be for this movie. It's actually an Easter egg for the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Oh.
But anyways, yeah. Pale.
Yeah. Well, anyway, they just inform him that they lost the dwarves. He is still just bent on obtaining Thorin's head. But
because as we saw in that flashback, he's still after the line of Durin, whatever.
Right. He's still wanting to kill him. But anyway, so yeah, the messenger that told him that gets eaten by the wargs.
Yeah, the wargs.
Works, yeah.
Yeah, he get the pale orc or Azog like lifts him up with his little like impromptu hand, right, and just throws him into the warg pit, and he just gets devoured.
Right. Yeah. So we get and tell me if this is an extended scene. We cut back, and Bilbo is wandering around and sees a painting of someone wearing a ring, and he kind of just enjoys the scenery in that place. Now, the part about the ring, was that an extended scene? Where he like sees that painting?
Yeah, so this is an extended scene, and again, this is supposed to be a little Easter egg or a nod to the first movie.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Because we see that broken blade. We see that
Right.
broken blade.
Yeah, we see the broken blade, and we see the ring, in the painting. On the hand of the.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah.
So again, it's like little nods or like little Easter eggs
right.
to the first movie is really what it
yep.
is. Like you said, we see this actually this exact spot where Bilbo is standing. You see it in the Fellowship of the Ring. Right.
Yep. And also again, I just got to remind people, like, if you're listening to this and you've heard me say multiple times, now I haven't seen these movies and now I'm agreeing with you. It's because I watched the Fellowship of the Ring, and then we decided to do the Hobbit. So then I watched the first Hobbit. So I haven't seen the entirety of the rest of them, but anything referred to that I've seen in the Fellowship of the Ring, I'll agree to and I will know about.
Yeah.
But beyond that, no idea.
So since you mentioned that, you remember that the orcs on that ruined tower that you had mentioned?
Yeah.
And you remember in the first movie when Aragorn and the four hobbits are on that ruined tower?
Oh yeah.
Same tower.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, same tower.
That's when did the arrows find somebody?
That's when Frodo gets stabbed with that blade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
a little different.
And that just reminded me, that blade that Radagast shows Gandalf, right? That we
talked
about.
The same blade?
Same type of blade. Maybe not the same exact blade. Same type of blade. Same. Same thing there.
Yeah. Okay. But anyway, cutting back to Bilbo wandering around, he is enjoying the scenery of Rivendell, and Lord Elrond finds him and just tells him, like, hey, you're welcome to stay. Like, anytime you want to come here, you are welcome.
Yep.
And then a little bit later, like not too much, but we see elves walking and talking, and they see the dwarves playing around naked in their fountain.
Yeah.
Like they're basically chicken fighting or whatever you call that, where it's like somebody's on your shoulders and you
Yeah. So one thing I would like to mention too, with you mentioning that Elrond offers him to stay.
Yeah.
One thing about Rivendell too is it's not only for elves, and this is one scene where it's kind of suggested that, like, Rivendell is for a place for really anybody that does not have ill will, that's just looking for somewhere where they can just live out the rest of their days in peace.
It's a safe haven.
Yeah, and in the books, even it's in at least the Fellowship of the Ring book, Rivendell is often found. Songs are often being sung of like past battles and just kind of out of memory of fallen friends and family. And stories are constantly being told of great deeds and all that type of stuff, and tragedies. And it's one of those where like people can come here and kind of like let the weights off their shoulders.
Yeah,
it's that type of place. So it's not just elves that are allowed here. Like that's one of the reasons Elrond's like, you can stay if you want, because he's wise enough and old enough to know that Bilbo has no ill will. He's not here to hurt anybody. He's not gonna go out and do awful things.
Right.
He's just looking for a peaceful life, and he's gotten basically just dragged on this adventure against his will.
Right. Anyway, so Bilbo overhears Elrond and Gandalf talking, and Thorin kind of is hearing the same thing, and he is reminded of his family's tendency towards madness.
Yeah.
As they talk a little bit more. But as they continue on, we meet a new character, Gandalf meets Hela, Thor's sister, which by the way, if anybody doesn't get like half the references, just know most of the time it's based on the actress or actor playing another role. If you didn't get it with Lord Elrond, he was in The Matrix. If you didn't get this one, it's I can't even think of her name, but she played in another movie.
Yeah.
Either way, we meet Lady Galadriel, right?
Pretty close, actually. Lady Galadriel.
Galadriel. Why do I have an N there? I'm gonna shoot myself, dude. I
So
can't
Lady
spell
Galadriel
Yeah.
is
Galadriel.
basically like, so think of, we saw that first Elven King at the beginning of the movie, and we've seen Elrond now, another Elven King. Think of Galadriel as like the High Queen of the elves.
Yeah, I was gonna say she's like basically like a goddess.
Yeah, so she has been around since the beginning of Middle Earth. Like she's not like Gandalf, where he used to be like a spirit up with God and got sent down to help man. She's just an elf, but she has been around since the beginning. She was like one of the first elves. And one of the books is called the Silmarillion.
Right, which is basically the Old Testament.
Yeah, it's basically the Old Testament of this world.
Mm-hmm.
She's in the Silmarillion fairly early on.
Okay.
So think of like when Adam and Eve were around, they had kids, and then their kids had kids.
Yeah, she's basically one of those generations.
Yeah, she's like, if she was in the Bible, she would be like Adam and Eve's granddaughter.
Yeah. Okay.
Think of it that way.
Yeah, like one of the very first generations. Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, but then Count Dooku shows up and they start talking to Gandalf. Saruman is like basically almost lecturing him, like, why are you here?
So one thing with Saruman
to
keep in mind during this time, right? So, and this is one of those things where you kind of you have to kind of seen the first movie at least, the first Lord of the Rings movie at least, kind of get it. But Saruman kind of mentions that of like the evil being defeated. We're not at war. There's nothing bad going on. What are you talking about? He's very skeptical, right? And he's talking about that giant battle that we see in the beginning of Fellowship of the Ring. Like, that war is over. It's done with. The enemy is defeated. We don't have to worry about them. Like, I don't know why you're making such a big deal here.
Yeah, he's saying, he's like, I mean, and that's actually my next note. He's like, there is no threat. Like, the ring is lost. Yeah. It's unknown. Like, why is this thing? And Gandalf points out that there is more evil beyond the evil of Smaug, right? The necromancer is mentioned. They kind of talk about that, him being able to summon the dead. Yeah. And eventually, after some skepticism, Lady Galadriel has like she can like speak through her mind. Yeah.
Yeah, she has.
Or is that just between? Or is that just between her and Gandalf? Like, is that a her thing, or is that like because of who Gandalf is?
No, so that's a her thing.
Okay.
And we actually see her do this in Fellowship of the Ring. She talks to Frodo like that as well. Okay. Yeah, she has a very, I don't know if it's just like a very rare ability or a very just her ability to communicate basically telepathically. And I don't know if it's like she has to be able to see the person or if it's over great lengths or what exactly. I think it's just like she can do it over great lengths. But I think it's just a very her thing that she can do. Okay. Well, and we do get references as well that, again, a lot of people wouldn't know, to the 7 rings of the 7 dwarven rings. Mm-hmm. Right? And we in the first movie we hear the 3 rings to the elves, the 7 to the dwarves, and the 9 to men. And so, you know, in the first movie we're told that the 9 men fell and basically became servants of Sauron, the Dark Lord, blah, 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 blah. But we never hear anything about the dwarven rings. The elven rings, Gandalf has one, for people that don't know. Gandalf has one of the elven rings. Elrond has one elven ring, and Galadriel has one elven ring. Right, so those 3 rings are accounted for. They're not influenced by evil or anything like that. The 7 dwarven rings made the dwarves very greedy, and that's how they got into their whole mining and finding treasure and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And as I said, the 9 rings turned the 9 men into wraiths that served the bad guys. Yeah. But right here we get told 7 of the rings, 4 were consumed by dragons. And I think he says the other 3 are unaccounted for. No, 2 were taken by Sauron. Sorry, I just said that point. So 4 of the 7 were consumed by dragons. 2 were taken by Sauron before he gets quote unquote killed in the first movie. And there's 1 ring unaccounted for. that ring belongs to Thorin and his family line.
Hmm.
And Thorin doesn't have it.
Right.
And so, there's one dwarven ring unaccounted for. And what a lot of people don't know is Sauron gets some of his power back by having those rings.
Yeah.
So he gets more power because, like, he helped create them. A lot of people don't know as well. He helped create those rings, and he put power into those rings that the dwarves didn't even know about. And so, as he's getting those relics back, he's gaining more power. And for Gandalf, it's like, well, if he gets that other ring back, he just becomes that much more powerful.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, so this kind of was branching off of her, like this, took a little bit further, but basically just coming back a little bit. She communicated to Gandalf and was like, "You have something."
Mm-hmm.
Like you brought something on you, as they're talking about the necromancer, and Saruman's like, "No, no, there's no basis of like he's denying the whole thing. He's very skeptical.
I feel like Saruman in this point, he's just looking for hard evidence. It is what he's looking
well, really, yeah. And I mean, honestly, it's like you come in here with all these claims, and it's like, okay, well, what proof do you have?
Yeah,
why do you believe this? He's just questioning reasonable questions,
Yeah, my thing with this is like, it's not like Saruman's trying to deny all of it. It's not like he's just saying this is complete bull crap.
No, he's just seeking for reason.
Hard evidence. Yeah, he's just like, I want hard evidence for what you're claiming. That's all he's looking for.
Right.
Which is very understandable, obviously,
Yeah, completely. But so he pulls out the sword, and it is a relic of Mordor, a Morgul blade,
Morgul blade.
Morgul.
Yeah, so there is one area in Middle Earth called Minas Morgul, where one of Sauron's high generals that's basically his domain. And that's where that blade was crafted. It's got certain like evil magic to it. It's much more dangerous than just a typical dagger or a knife. It's not like it's just a sharp edge. It's got power to it. It's got poison to it. It's a very dangerous thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a Morgul blade.
Yeah, so they show that up. It's like that whole thing that you mentioned a while back in the episode where, you were saying how that sword should have been like buried deep, encased by a magic like lock, basically.
Yeah.
And it is here in front of them. Like there's no way that it should be. Lady Galadriel and Lord Elrond are like kind of like looking at it like what? Like they're in awe of it. Like they're on board with this shouldn't be possible.
Yeah. Like this blade is proof enough for them that what Gandalf said is true.
Right, but then Saruman, of course, he's just like Gandalf has no grounds, whatever. Yeah. It's just this and that, and he does not have his approval. I mean, to
part
do
of it, I
whatever.
think, with the whole thing with Saruman and Gandalf is in terms of the five wizards, right? Saruman is the leader of their order. He's the most powerful. Gandalf is second most powerful. So I honestly, I think part of it is like Gandalf or Sauron or Saruman, the White Wizard dude. Yeah. I think he almost sees as a little bit of a threat from Gandalf as well. So I think he's very skeptical, obviously, but I think a little bit of it comes from he's a little threatened by Gandalf. He doesn't want Gandalf to become the leader of their order of wizards.
Right.
Which I think is part of it.
Which you think is what?
Which I think is part of the reason Saruman's so skeptical.
Right. But anyway,
but I would even say sorry.
Nope.
Saruman is even, I think, a little taken back by the blade too. Just because he gets a little bit of a look on his face. He's even a little taken back of like, how is it even here? But we do hear Galadriel say at this point too, referring to the blade being buried deep. She says it belonged to the Witch King of Angmar, who was one of Sauron's. He was like second in command to Sauron. And when he was defeated, he was buried deep within the high fells of Rundar, which is basically just a giant mountain range, right? They made cells deep down into the mountain and sealed it with magic. And again, that's just why it's how the heck is it here?
Hmm. But yeah, as they're kind of going there, Galadriel, I believe, says something like indicating that the dwarves are leaving, like they've packed their things, they're taking off. Somehow somebody says that, and she says to Gandalf, like, you knew.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, you knew they were doing this, and he's just like, kind of gives that, like, basically that Jim face from The Office.
Yeah.
You know, where he's like, yep.
Yeah. So basically, anything of significance that happens in Lord of the Rings, right?
Mm-hmm.
In terms of like the quest that Thorin is on, typically you would go to these people here because they're part of their own council between Saruman, Gandalf, Galadriel, Elrond, and a couple others. But basically, you're supposed to go to them and ask permission. Is
Yeah.
essentially what you're supposed to do.
Hmm.
Like these are the most powerful, the most wise beings in the land. You don't go and just disturb a dragon or go on this huge quest that could be very impactful to the world without their approval, without them giving you their graces or whatever you want to call
Yeah.
it. And so, like,
Um,
Gandalf is being very schemy here, and I love it.
yeah. So, anyway, so it cuts a little bit, and it's Gandalf and her talking, and she just kind of is asking, like, basically why the Hobbit, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and through some different answering, he just flat out kind of says, you know, Bilbo gives him courage.
Yeah.
You know, the way he is, his nature and stuff is,
Yep.
you know, gives
And
Gandalf courage.
also in that scene too, I feel like Gandalf reveals himself a little bit more in that scene as well.
Yeah.
Because like he mentions about Saruman, how Saruman only sees courage through strength and being powerful, and Gandalf says something along the lines of like, he finds that power comes from the small things, the little good gestures. That's what's going to keep the evil back. That's what's going to save us. It's those small little gestures, the small good deeds done every day. Whereas Saruman
Yeah.
just sees that you need to be powerful. And I feel like
Hmm.
Gandalf really reveals himself a little bit in that scene.
No, yeah, I for sure see that. Yeah. But anyway, she offers Gandalf help, just saying, if you ever need it, just let me know. And that kind of ends that scene, and then we see the dwarves crossing the mountain. They're on their way, and they kind of look back, and then they keep on going, and that's actually where I ended my notes, to say let's probably stop the episode around here.
Yeah, I think it's a solid spot to stop.
Yeah.
We have the dwarves have just left Rivendell. We've seen
Right.
some pretty significant and important scenes here.
Mm-hmm.
Between the dwarves and Elrond and the small council we saw with Elrond, Galadriel, and Gandalf and Saruman.
Mm-hmm.
We get a little bit of action as well. I'd say this is a pretty solid spot to stop. We got about an hour left in the film.
Yep. The current timestamp is about 1 hour and 53 minutes. That was exactly an hour from when we started. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a good place to end part 2 of our coverage / walkthrough, which I kind of feel like that's kind of what we're going for with this podcast. It's a walkthrough / kind of commentary type deal.
Yeah, and with Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, it almost has to be a walkthrough.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because like there's so much small stuff that you would miss that's pretty significant.
Yeah.
In these movies, like the whole thing with the swords that Gandalf and Thorin get. Like at first it seems like that's just a little, oh, they got new swords, whatever. But like in reality, it's very significant. It's got a lot of backstory.
No, I 100% agree.
Whereas like in Star Wars and whatnot, like you don't have to be as nitpicky, I guess would be the word for it.
Yeah.
Going through Star Wars. Even though Star Wars does have this huge backstory to it and everything like that too, but it's just like you don't have a whole lot of stuff in Star Wars referring back to like earlier, like first stage stuff like you do in Lord of the Rings and
Right.
Hobbit.
Right. I think it'd be cool if it did. You know, you got references to the old Republic, stuff like that, but
Oh yeah, absolutely, it would be cool.
it's not exactly as detailed as this,
Yeah.
for example.
And I honestly, I think The Hobbit does it more than the Lord of the Rings film trilogy
Hmm.
does. I mean, the Lord of the Rings trilogy has the stuff in there as well, but not. I would say not as much as this one.
Hmm.
As not as much as at least the An Unexpected Journey does.
Yeah.
But
But yeah. Anyway, so that's our coverage of our episode 2 of The Hobbit. It'd be our coverage of part 2 of The Hobbit: An Unexpected Journey. I mean, I would just, and I'm just going to say my comments, then I'll open it up to you, Evan. You know, I mean, obviously we're continuing this coverage just as any other episode that that we point out. We do have a lot of different methods of getting in contact with us. You know, we've got the email. You can join our Discord. Honestly, the Discord has been very inactive lately, but at the same time, so is our uploads. So
true.
Kind of equal. But anyway, so we have the Discord server. You can join in there. You can direct message us. You can just have a conversation. You can share memes, whatever. I post my notes there, so there's a little bit of a kind of a, I don't know, behind the scenes kind of looks, and stuff. But you can join that. Make sure to rate us and review us on Apple. That helps us kind of get out there. Other than that, just spread the word. Honestly, word of mouth sometimes is just as effective. So definitely help us out there. Email us, all of that. We have not donation goals. We have goals of 100 reviews on Apple. If we do that, we are going to do a live stream, interactive. We'll cover something and talk to you guys. We'll cover it with you guys probably. And every 1,000 downloads, we do a blooper reel. So yeah, keep the downloads going. Spread the word, all of that. Rate us, review. So that's all that I have to say.
Yeah, and
anything you want to say, Evan?
The stuff for the Discord and the email and that type of stuff, there'll be links in the description for that, correct?
Correct. Yep.
And I mean, honestly, I just ditto on what Jacob said. Plenty of ways for you guys to get a hold of us if you have questions. I don't think we've really even gotten any questions about any of the stuff we've covered yet.
No, we haven't. But I mean, the method or the option's always there.
Yeah, I would definitely like to see some questions, see what you guys' thoughts are.
Yeah, I would too.
And I would also like see if you guys have any suggestions of topics as well.
Yeah, say there's stuff that we haven't covered or don't plan to cover that you want to see. Mm-hmm. I'd love to have suggestions. Get some feedback, get some suggestions, whatever.
Yeah, and I don't remember what we were at rating wise from the last episode, but we are at 9 total ratings on Apple Podcast.
Yeah, so hey, almost pretty well a tenth of the way there now to live stream. And
again, I don't know if this was here last time we did an episode or not, but it might be a new comment from December 1st of 2020.
It has definitely been there.
Okay.
We've seen it.
I kind of figured it was since it's a while ago, but just in case.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? I don't know if we've uploaded since then.
Yeah, but we've definitely got a lot of other stuff we're planning on doing. Like, we still plan on doing Marvel. Mm-hmm. And we had talked about doing maybe some Harry Potter and maybe Chronicles of Narnia, that type of stuff. So yeah, if there's anything you guys want us to cover, just let us know and we can make a list and definitely hit that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And yeah, if you want to see more of what we do, we've kind of overall upload schedule has just been kind of whack.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But Evan, you are on YouTube. You play some games live stream. What's your username there?
You can find me on YouTube at Future Instinct. 2 words. Yep. 2 words, not one.
Yep. And You can find me at rude, crude, and socially unacceptable, like 5 words, but also upload
with commas in there as well.
Don't
forget the commas.
Yeah.
Very
but
important.
Evan and I play some video games together on there. I also have another podcast that we just wrapped up season 1 of. We're just taking a break from that, but called Down the Road. So you can see me on those. See Evan over there, and of course, join us back here for what is it? Chapter? Yeah, what is it? Chapter 7? 7? Okay. Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, I believe it's chapter 7 of the Mandalorian.
Chapter 7 of the Mandalorian.
Right. That's what we'll cover next episode. So, see you guys then. Besides that, see you guys then.
Peace.
Deuces.